Welcome to AI Oversight Weekly Briefing. Today, we have a really great topic, which many people keep me asking to cover. It's about personal productivity AI versus AI as enterprise capability. So let's go ahead. We do have a lot of material to cover. Please post your questions at the end. By the end of this session, you will know exactly why organizations struggle to demonstrate return on investment. And also at the end of the session, you're going to get the really simple framework which you can use to find out if your organization is really building enterprise capability. If you would love to have a full recording to watch later, my recommendation is to follow this recording on YouTube on the AI Oversight 360. So this way you can watch at your own speed anytime you want to watch it. All presentations going to be available for download. So let's start why we even talk about this problem. So there are so many discussions right now about AI value, AI adoption, and AI adoption. I don't want to keep repeating same statistics, which I have been showing you the different like another time, right? So boards and executive teams are asking, we bought licenses. Many companies bought thousands of enterprise licenses for ChatGPT, for Copilot, for Claude, and any different type of LLMs. So we got Copilot available for our employees inside different tools. So we do have employees using ChatGPT. So we run a lot of pilots. Every team is piloting something. Every team is building even agents. So we do a lot of trainings. We train people how to use prompts. We train people what is the best prompt looks like, right? So we deployed all of this, but where's the business impact? Why our financial officer is asking for impact, which we do not see on our balance sheet. So I think there is a fundamental problem, because when we talk about impact, we might be confusing personal AI productivity and enterprise AI capability. So to show economic value of AI, we do need to have enterprise AI capability. And these are two different games. So when I show the slide at board meetings, at executive meetings, at team meetings, it's a big aha moment for everyone. So usually I do not have time to go at all details, but today I'm going to do this. So I want to show you that this is not the first time we are playing this game, and I'll give you some powerful analogies you can use to explain your teams and explain your executives and boards where exactly we should be going. We have seen this movie before, I told you. So example number one, let's talk about Excel. Excel is absolutely amazing and powerful tool. So Excel is widely used in finance. Probably every financial analyst in your company have own version of Excel, own version of dashboards, own single source of truth, right? So Excel dramatically improved personal productivity. So this was absolutely phenomenal tool, and it is still a really great tool. But did Excel create finance capability? It's actually not. So finance capability is created by accounting standards, by ERPs. So this is where the processes got standardized, planning processes, controls, financial governance, by data, by people, by decision rights. So Excel is a productivity tool, really powerful, but finance is enterprise capability. So see the difference. let's go to next example. Same happened with email. Email came before Excel was created, right? So did email make organizations to be more collaborative? Actually not. So what made organizations to be more collaborative is the culture, business processes, ways of working, decision rights, and leadership. So look at the difference. Collaboration is a tool versus collaboration is enterprise capability. And now my favorite example, really recent one, BI and dashboards. So how many thousands of dashboards do you have? So in my history, I had some divisions having up to 25,000 of dashboards. And people didn't even know what dashboard mean, right? But everybody keep creating their own version, right? So BI gave a lot of power to people for self-service analytics, for self-service reporting. So really, really great advancement forward, right? But also, what happened? Did more dashboards came with creating better decisions? Just think for yourself. Not really. So more dashboards did not come with better decisions. So why? Because again, the same as Excel, the same as email, BI dashboard is a tool. Decision intelligence is organizational capability. So again, see the difference. You can have a really powerful tool. It doesn't mean that you're going to create measurable return on investment and you're going to create a value, right? So create return on investment on Power BI or Tableau or any other BI type of tools. You need to have a decision intelligence as organizational capability at your company. So to summarize, so Excel as a tool did not create financial capability. So email is a tool, did not create collaboration capability. Dashboard as a tool did not create decision capability. Because capabilities are not created by tools. Capabilities transform organizations. To create capabilities, you need to think about how you transform organizations. So we'll talk later what exactly you need to transform. So what most companies call AI? So every time anybody asks you a question about AI, please clarify what exactly they mean. So in many cases, you're going to find that people call AI individual tasks, right? So employee who can create images, write the code, do research, write emails, summarize documents, create presentations, meeting notes, brainstorm, analyze Excel spreadsheets, right? So there is a real productivity here. And the real value could be created through this individual task. Let's think about that. Before, person have been doing the task for 60 minutes, now can do for 20 minutes. I mean, great way, right? So nothing to complain about. But let's now think about. So we gave everybody this type of tool. Did customer experience of your customers fundamentally changed? Did the supply chain fundamentally change for your company? Did your pricing capability changed? Did innovation in your company changed? Did your risk changed? Did how your company makes decisions changed? So these are good questions to reflect when we talk about AI. So personal productivity versus enterprise capability. Personal productivity helps me to perform tasks. And I already gave you example of tasks. Enterprise capability help the enterprise perform capability, right? So what capability helps to perform? Customer management, supply chain, pricing, R&D, risk, finance, manufacturing, commercial decision-making, product service innovation. So in my book, AI Oversight, I call it AI acceleration loop. So if before you have a linear business, right? So you R&D your product, you manufacture your product, you ship to customer, you provide support, right? So now inside of each enterprise capability, AI can accelerate it. So this is the difference between the personal productivity and AI is enterprise capability. So don't get me wrong, because some people might say like, Elena, you completely talking about that productivity does make any sense. No, I didn't say this. Personal productivity does have value. Imagine you have 20,000 employees and each person gonna save 30 minutes a week. It is a huge productivity. But then the question is gonna come, how you gonna release this productivity, right? So for example, what happens with this hour which people saved? So do they do more valuable work? Do they serve another customer at this free time? Do they make better decision because of this personal productivity? Do they increase an output? Or they just simply take another cup of coffee? Which is, again, nothing bad about it, but you do need to think about how you release personal productivity into measurable value. So here is what's happening in reality. The great personal productivity AI fragmentation. Because we give people licenses and we give them a message. Go ahead. Experiment, right? And what we get completely disconnected activities happening. Every person building prompts, GPTs, agents, automation, knowledge bases, extract data from the same sources multiple times. So what we're getting into, we're getting eventually into shadow AI. I don't really like using the word of shadow to analytics, to BI, to IT, but it is ungoverned. It is AI, which is nobody measuring the value. So the ultimate, it's not about the people doing own stuff. It's about that the value cannot be measured. You cannot get this value into your balance sheet. You cannot claim this value to your customers, right? So these are disconnected activities are hurting your value. This is the entire point. So many people are going to say, this is our culture. This is our culture. We give everybody to do own task and we support people to be innovative. I'm really sorry. This is not the culture. It's actually the lack of the governance. And I would put a really stronger message. The lack of the governance, it's a lack of leadership. It's a lack of leadership from leaders, from the board, from team leaders, from executive leaders. So because employees are not trying to do their own thing. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're trying to be more productive. But the problem is, because of the lack of leadership and the governance from the board and from leadership teams, we delegate our enterprise architecture and operating model to individuals. And this is not what we should be doing. So there are reasons why we should not be doing this. These are the same mistakes we already seen before. So remember examples of Excel, example of BI. So look at the situation of Excel. And I'm sure you have it. I mean, if you don't have it, please post this in a comment because it's a rare situation, right? So if company is giving people freedom to do whatever they want, you're going to get, in this example, 27 versions of revenue in your company because every single department, every single function, different analysts, they're going to start doing their own versions. They're going to start doing own data. But they're not going to do this because they're bad people. They just try to perform the work the best way. And maybe they lack really simple data management skills. And they don't know that disconnecting data from database, creating the data copy is actually the way to create an accurate data. And another one, business intelligence. Again, hundreds of dashboards, thousands of dashboards, right? So now we're going into the same problem. So at the era of AI is everywhere. AI is about to repeat. It's already repeating. And many companies realizing how costly is it, is about to repeat the same mistake. And it is doing this at machine speed. The most dangerous part is it's actually exposing the customer proprietary information. And we already see such cases coming in use every single day. It's also building really big cost. I know many information officers, chief digital officers, chief data officers are really concerned about legacy we have. So as of now, you are creating legacy at the speed of light. And this legacy is going to be much harder to remove because there is no logic behind this legacy, right? So it's not something that you build a database and you know the logic, right? So here you have individual logic, and this logic can live anywhere. It can expose any information, employee salary information, personal information, customer information, right? So do not repeat the same mistake with personal productivity. So what is changing when AI becomes enterprise capability? I want to give you side-by-side example, right? So let's take demand planning, right? So we have a planner who use AI to summarize forecast reports. So how to make sure that you give it personal productivity, but you actually give it in a governed way, and you give it in a way that creates a measurable change and measurable business results, right? So you embed this productivity into tools, enterprise tools, where the work is happening. So I'll give you an example. SAP, ERP, many manufacturing companies have it. Or if you different type of companies, you also have your operating systems, right? So inside of these operating systems, companies like SAP, they already built it really smart AI. They already built it agents. So when I bring this to companies, many CIOs are actually saying, oh, we don't use them, right? So we give people tools to build something which already exists inside enterprise systems, and we're already paying money for this. These are our vendors. These are our partners. We can partner more to build the safe personal productivity AI inside enterprise systems we already have, right? So this is example of demand planning. So let's give you another example, customer service, right? Customer service, exactly. The previous example I gave you about saying, could be SAP ERP, right? But this example could be like your CRM, right? You might be using Salesforce. You might be using Acuvia. You might be using Viva. You might be using another industry specialized CRM, right? So your salespeople, your marketing people, your medical people, so they can use personal productivity inside enterprise tools. And this is the first where you should be thinking about how to build the personal productivity to also become your enterprise capability. And you can measure the real value. You can see the difference that is going to get. One person can just write an email and it's going to be copy and paste work, right? But if it is an enterprise capability, you can detect customer value, what is intent, you can do customer segmentation, you can create AI loop, you can see if decisions have been made, and your AI can learn from decision, right? So if you build your productivity in a connection to enterprise capability, you're going to start getting measurable value. So why enterprise AI is harder? Because buying LLM is not enough. Building enterprise capability requires several things to work together. And unfortunately, you cannot skip, right? Don't even think about I'm gonna, skip on governance. I'm not gonna be measuring value, or I'm gonna fix the process later. I'm just, let's people use the tool right now, right? So you need to work in a sequence, an exact sequence, which I gave you on the screen. Starting from business problem, looking how this business problem integrated in the process and what process should be. Do not try to repeat your current, maybe artificial process. So what data exists to support this process, how it needs to be architected. So what are technology we're going to be using? Okay, we're going to be doing this directly in SAP, for example. Or we're going to build analytical capability in Snowflake and Databricks or other type of technologies. So where the human judgment is important, right? Because remember, the value is not going to come if people don't make decisions. You can create the smartest omnichannel, but if people do not execute the action, do not record this action back to your system, and your AI does not learn from this decision and action, you're not going to be creating enterprise AI. So then the governance. The first task of the governance is decision governance. It's a value governance, right? So this is not about what tool you should be buying. Okay, nice policy, right? So these are the tools we're using. But the biggest value of governance is, did we get the value? Did we protect the value of the company? Are we creating the value with every single feature tool we implementing in our company? And the last step, which is really important, how are we going to measure this? How are we going to show this to our investors? How are we going to put into our quarterly call to show outside world what is really happening? So I started reading and analyzing a lot of quarterly reports from public and some family-owned companies. So here is an interesting trend. I do see that some companies started saying that we have AI, but nobody really quantifies it. So then this drives me to conclusion that adoption of AI is really low maturity. So if we're gonna get measurable results, we're gonna be happy to report these results linked directly to AI capabilities in our quarterly reports, because AI capabilities can create completely different enterprises. So, of course, I want to mention AI Oversight, right? So we are at AI Oversight Weekly Briefing. There are different types of risks associated with personal productivity and enterprise capability. So in my book, every single chapter has a list of questions which executives and boards could ask themselves. And they should be able to answer these questions in front of policymakers, in front of investors, and in front of public voice and customers. So for personal productivity, concerns which many people talk about is privacy, confidential information, intellectual property, hallucination, employee misuse. So these are all real, right? But when we talk about enterprise capability, we have even more serious risk because now AI can start changing, influencing your decisions. So AI is going to start looking at actions. AI is going to recommend what customer you should be reaching, what should be the price for the customer. Are you going to approve the mortgage for this client? Are you going to approve the healthcare coverage for this client, right? So these are way more serious decisions. And the governance of enterprise capability, oversight of AI capability, enterprise capability should be quite serious. I don't even want to go into agentic. We are still learning. We're still early in the journey. So as reported by many recent surveys, agentic is not showing results at all. Almost, I think there are only 2% of companies have been saying that we see some positive signs of agentic creating business outcomes. But agentic is going to represent even more serious decisions, right? And we do need to start thinking about this because we are moving into autonomous enterprise. So agentic is not the future. It is coming really, really fast. So to summarize, let's go back to ROI. So there is a return on investments both ways, in personal productivity and enterprise capability. But please make sure you're pretty clear about expectations and ambitions, what exactly you are measuring. Productivity, time saved, quality improvement, employee experience, cycle time, output. And in enterprise capability, you measure revenue, you measure margins, you measure cost to serve, forecast accuracy, working capital, customer retention, risk reduction, innovation speed, decision quality. So see the difference, right? And just a reminder, for the personal productivity, for you to realize this measurement, it needs to be governed. It needs to be embedded into ways of working. And it's better to be embedded into enterprise tools versus having separate LLM models running outside and people just copy and paste information. So I promise to you to stop with 7 reality checks. So if you want to reflect if your company, are you a member of a board, are you an executive, are you chief data, or you like just a manager, what are you really building? Are you building really enterprise capability, which is going to create competitive value for your company, which is going to create the measurable value which you can show to your investors? Look at 7 questions. Question number 1, strategy. Do we have business outcomes tied to AI? Business outcomes, not how many licenses we buy, not how many pilots we have. Let's talk about capabilities. Can you name 3 business capability AI has transformed? Business capability, right? So you can go back to my deck presentation. Remember, I told you about AI as a finance as a capability, right? So, for example, are you building differentiated finance with AI? Are you building different supply chain with finance, right? So can you name 3 business capabilities that AI has transformed, right? Transformed processes and everything. So then the data. Do we trust the data AI depends on? Honest answer, yes or no. Governance. Can we explain? I'm just taking one question from governance, right? But can we explain who owns AI accountability? So if tomorrow AI doesn't deliver value, who owns it? Who is going to be asked why we don't deliver value? So measurement. are we measuring business outcomes instead of AI activity? I just told you what outcome means versus activity. Operating model. Has AI changed how organization is actually works? So taking same processes and just putting AI on top, it's not changing your organization. And the last, really honest question about leadership. If tomorrow, personal AI, LLMs, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude disappear, will your business still continue to deliver the value? Good reflection. So if your business still continue deliver the value without people sending more emails using ChatGPT, then you're far away from building AI enterprise capability. So if your mortgage approval, accuracy of your mortgage approval will depend on AI, then yes, you might be already building AI as enterprise capability. So to finish the session, don't start AI journey by asking, what AI tool should I buy? Start by asking, what business decision is costing us the most money? And every business knows these decisions, right? It's really hard to say them loud, but be brave, do it. So this is where you should focus your AI efforts on business decisions, which really core to your business. At the end, just want to give you resources. First of all, follow me on LinkedIn. I do such sessions every Friday. I have guests really interesting, invited across the industry. We discuss different topics. So you can look at my book, AI Oversight. It does have a lot of examples I provided today. Plus, it does have a list of questions you can use when you talk to boards, when you talk to executives. And just a reminder, this full recording is also going to be available at YouTube channel, AI Oversight 360. So if you would love to save a copy for yourself, so you can do it via YouTube. Post your questions. I'll be happy to answer them in comments. Thank you so much for the session, and have a great weekend and week ahead.